but can't exactly complain, and here we go. Okay, Serabov is where things start to get a little bit interesting. That is correct, other than Torment, which goes from 50% to 45, 40, and 35 from resist negative, and that, I believe, stacks with our natural Torment resistance from being a Gargoyle, which is why we're not getting the full halved health effect, but good to know. Does Torment resistance from the mutation stack with RN? That's an interesting question. I'm also curious if it stacks with, yeah, the Gargoyle, as you mentioned next there, boss level. That's a very good point. But okay, do we get rid of this amulet? I think we kind of have to. Regen MP, not super useful for us, but I do feel the need to stack on some more fire resistance. I'm very much debating if we want to bother with the Salamander Hide. We lose 8 AC, but it puts us in a pretty decent spot. Also makes us invulnerable to Clouds of Flame, which is pretty fantastic. Of course, the flames that surround us aren't likely to do a heck of a lot of work here in the fire region of Pan, but regardless, it's a bit of a defensive play. I should have backed out a little bit earlier out of sight of that alarm trap, but hopefully Serabov is not included in our crowd of new friends here as we just blast our way through all these lovely, new friends. Why, hello there. Let's start with haste. Maybe you should have done that sooner. Got a little carried away with the tab key there. Oh, Serabov, how you frighten me. But there we go. Okay, again, looked easy, but don't you doubt Serabov for a moment. Things can get a heck of a lot hairier than that. So that is just fantastic. And you meant the Demon Spawn, not the the Demon Spawn mutation. Interesting. Yeah, I was just thinking about the, I believe you can get that mutation naturally as well, but that is a very interesting point. Also, finally finish off the enchanting on our Holy Branded crossbow here, so that is beautiful. And the rest of this area should be pretty straightforward. We can kind of blitz our way through. We'll eventually make our way towards the rune in the center compound, but not in a huge hurry. Just gonna let Auto Explore do all the heavy lifting so that I don't have to think too much one way or another. Especially since I'm always really bad for when I'm manually moving. That's where I don't notice enemies as they start to just launch infinite damnation at me, and lo and behold, terrible things happen. So let's try to avoid that, shall we? The wiki page simply says that all the resistance sources stack. Okay, so that's pretty incredible. You can definitely seemingly get it down to a pretty workable point then with the combination of all those. Do a bit of cosplaying as an undead character even, and a regeneration cloak. So I think Ring of Willpower is going to hit the deck for now. I'm at least going to pick that bad boy up. I kind of love the Cloak of Starlight. It's a fun thematic addition to the character here, but I am kind of curious to see just how stacked we can get our regeneration here if we equip everything in that category. So we'll bring it out of here for good measure, and that should be pretty much the entire area here. Fantastic. So yeah, not too shabby whatsoever. The last couple of encounters we've had with Serabov, especially in our last 15 rune run, was a bit of a sketchy situation, a bit nasty. I think we ended up retreating in and out of that fight like 5 times, just barely at the brink of our life, barely holding on. So maybe that says something about the character, maybe that says something about our luck. Regardless, I'll take it as we get put into the Abyss, which actually is fantastic because this gives me some time to swap over. I think we'll switch into our Ice Dragon armor here, seeing as how Lumlabone does use cold magic with Polar Vortex, so hopefully we get the chance to put this bad boy on. Beautiful. That brings us up to 2 pips cold resistance. We can swap back to our regen amulet here as well. There was a lich, right? Oh, there you are, you son of a lich. Let's not even bother fighting. Let's just get the heck out of Dodge, shall we? Come back to all of our friends we now have more willpower, so I guess we won't be sent to the Abyss again, at least not by these enemies. But that's not the end of the world one way or another. Feel just fine about that. And otherwise, let's just get blasting, shall we? I guess one thing we can do here is make use of our magic mapping scrolls. This does look to be the danger zone, so let's maybe explore the rest of the level. Just in case things start to get hairy, I want to have an option to read a teleport scroll and be likely to land in relative safety. So with that in mind, we'll clear out the rest of the zone, very similar to what we do on Zot 5 with the lungs. Especially if we get some more blinking scrolls while we're at it. That is just fantastic. And with that, we should be pretty much ready to head right into the thick of things. So shall we? Let's see how it goes. Ooh, interesting. If we were playing like a Fedhas character or a Shatter caster, we could actually do some sneaky shenanigans here, breaking through these back walls to ninja the rune out. That's always a type of run that I've been interested in, never really had much opportunity to do it. A stealth-based 15 rune character where you focus a bit more on the sneaky grabbing of materials. But okie dokie, let's just hope that we have enough damage potential to take down Lom Labom. It does seem to be the case. Just making it look easy, Grunter. Jeez Louise. I mean, I'm not complaining, don't get me wrong. I will gladly take anything and everything to keep this run surviving past 15 runes here. But let's see, a scroll of acquirement, not a heck of a lot. That sword is slightly interesting, but probably not going to make the bank here or break the bank on it. At the same time, 300 gold, not super exciting, so we'll just take the unarmed manual, even if we're not going to use it. It's just nice to have, good to learn new things, you know? Have it available to us at the very least. And there we go, that's another pan rune under our belt. Holy moly, folks. I was hoping that it would go this smoothly, but never in my wildest dreams did I believe that to be the case. So that is all of the pan runes under our belt. We just have 2 more hells, and of course Tomb. Always Tomb to contend with here. We don't currently have an escape, so we're just going to have to keep going through Pan for the time being until we find either one of the very rare gateways out, or far more likely, a gateway to the Abyss that we can sneak through and make our way out of here in one piece. So we'll have to see how things go. Stop that. Let's stand next to other enemies, so this son of a gun is a bit less likely to fling the powers of Quaslal our way. Grunter's second still going strong. We're doing our best here for sure, Eric. I'm very happy to see it. A very smooth start to our day so far here as well, so crossing my fingers that that continues to be the trend. Ooh, as we hit a mark trap, which hopefully is not going to cause too many troubles coming down the line, as well as having this dislocation or dispersal trap rather. Things could have gone nasty there, but nothing to complain about. And we'll just continue forward, again hoping to find a way out of here at some point down the line. And we'll see. As for where we're heading next, I think that becomes another interesting question. Oh hey, well there you have it. So we know we have an escape. Let's, for good measure here, finish off one last floor of Pan, shall we? For old time's sake. Looks like it's by and large cleared out regardless, so not feeling too concerned about it one way or another. Always interesting to see these vaults at this stage in the game. Generally not something I'm interested in trying out. I guess we could if we were feeling really brave here today. There are 3 artifact rings rather in there, which is beautiful. But there's only so much hubris that my brain will throw the problems here, and it is not quite enough for us to risk everything in that avenue. So with that in mind, let's just get the heck out of Dodge and get back to what we were just discussing. Where do we head to next? I guess Gehenna is maybe our best bet. Dis is the scariest hell to me, at least based on my previous experiences. And of course, Tomb we generally like to save for last, so with that in mind, let's head to the top of Gehenna. Oh, hello, my Eden friend. Lovely to see you here. But before we head in, what do we wish to do for fire resistance? Could just swap back to our salamander hide. Losing a decent amount of AC is not the end of the world. Immunity to all sorts of flames is pretty alright. Not enough hubris on Torinski. I know, on this channel it's a rare thing for me to admit. Usually we're running and gunning with everything we got. Just holding out hope that our luck will save us rather than any critical thought or skills. But hey, on this character, I guess things are just a bit different in more ways than one. So let's see, with just swapping over to that, we get 2 cold vulnerability, that should be fine. 2 pips of fire resistance, might be okay actually for Gehenna. We can always swap back into this amulet. Of course it's not super useful besides the fire resistance, so I'd rather not unless absolutely necessary. So for the time being, let's just pop our way in, shall we? We of course don't have the ability to read scrolls here, so there's not going to be any teleporting or blinking away from danger, which is terrifying in its own right, don't get me wrong. But I'm hoping that I can make it through in one piece. I'm going to get out of sight of that teleport trap, or rather the alarm trap, sorry. Can't really talk at the moment, but that's a little bit more danger than I'm willing to put ourselves in to begin with here. And otherwise, should be alright against all these fire enemies. We got rid of the Damnation Flinger. And let's maybe just start blasting every which way here. I do want to once again take care of this Senegon here, the Hellion, but managed to make it by, or make it through without needing to focus them down too quickly. You don't think you've seen the hills since the changes? Oh nice, I'm a pretty big fan of the changes in general. I think it's a fun shift to the way these areas work. You know, everything feels a little more flavorful. Oh my gosh, I also definitely should have been more careful against that frost giant. That could have been very nasty with double vulnerability. Holy moly. So this is like a giant themed floor, which makes me concerned that we may actually come across more frost giants, and I'm not in a good spot for quickly swapping out of all that vulnerability either. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to play this a wee bit carefully here, just in case. Hello, my Leviathan friend, Frost Giant. Once again, we were just kind of holding out hope that we'd be able to kill them fast enough that it wouldn't matter, and we do manage to do so. And let's, guess focus down that son of a gun once again here. We can head into the lava, so they at least have to take the slow way around. We can even swap over to our penetration branded crossbow, so we have guaranteed hits on our frost giant pal. Fantastic. And in fact, maybe we'll stick with the penetration branded crossbow here for the time being, just to play it as safely as possible. I guess that harpoon shot is a huge potential danger for us. If that brought us into frost giant range, then we could have seen a very rapid end to an otherwise invulnerable character. So let's try not to do that, shall we? Let's do our best. There we go. We do manage to finish off the floor, and so we can keep on making our way down. We suddenly feel a little small and vulnerable. Very sad. But okay, let's maybe stick with the penetration brand as we have a decent number of enemies surrounding us here. It seems like a good opportunity to take advantage of just that. In fact, once again, kind of focusing down the damnation buddies before we can start just absolutely blasting all these sons of guns with cleansing fire. And that should definitely do the trick. Beautiful. Immediately coming across our stairs, also love to see that. Making a bit of noise while we're at it, of course, but there's nothing really for us to hang around for. So we'll just sprint our way down to Gehenna 5 here, so just a couple more floors before we come across Asmodeus, who I'm feeling pretty confident with our in our abilities to defeat them. Could definitely be proven wrong, so let's maybe keep that in the back of our mind, especially as we come across, once again, just a heck ton of damnation coming our way. Not ideal. At the very least, it was the perfect time for it, standing on the stairwell, so we have a ready escape if we do need to make our way out of here in a tizzy. But here we go. Okay. Right, can't even read, so unfortunately can't read a magic mapping to give ourselves a bit of a preview as to what's to come, but that should be fine at the end of the day here. Thank you so much, Lo-Fi, for the luck. Definitely might need it as we continue forward into the last couple runes of the game. It is definitely nerve-wracking stuff. Triple crossbow looks fun. It is just wonderful. Just fantastic, really. Especially having, once again, just the privilege to be able to swap between a couple different triple crossbows is wild to me. Not something you see every day on range characters, so very much enjoying the experience. And let's make our way into the main keep here. Or never mind, Auto-Explore had other ideas, immediately making me look the fool here, but what else is new? Let's fire off into the smoke. I think we took out the Brimstone Fiend. Beautiful. Definitely just absolutely love to see it. We will see a few more of those bad boys as the bodyguard contingent of Asmodeus. So it's not quite the end of the danger zone quite yet here, but we're slowly but surely getting there. Oh, hello! I did not expect to see you up here. Jeez Louise, my friend. So you hurl damnation, which is not ideal. I think what we'll do to start off is get some haste going. Let's get a couple of friends in to the mix. And by our powers combined, we should be able to just very quickly murder our new friend here. Just beautiful. And holy moly, again, Grunter, you make things look easy. I'm very pleased to say. So we might as well, I guess, finish off a little bit more of the floor here. A few more treasure troves to explore. And then we'll be able to make our way on out of here, and it's just tomb left? Is that true, folks? No, it's dis as well, right. Still have dis to go. I'm getting ahead of myself, getting too excited, of course. It's my fear of both tomb and dis starting to rear up there. Was happy to pretend they didn't exist and that we were in a good spot, but regardless, hopefully we have what it takes to make it through. Oh right, I can't read scrolls down here, so I might have to leave you behind, my friend. I guess paralysis wands, very unlikely to be useful moving forward. We're at a stage in the game where there are not a lot of enemies that we can actually use that against. Hum-de-dum. Let's do it. Don't really need the enchant weapon either, so it's all a bit academic at the end of the day here. And, ooh, some Brimstone Fiends. Hello there, my friends. Okay, let's definitely try to murder that buddy before we get a firestorm dropped right on top of our heads. But otherwise, not too shabby. Just about done the area. This is actually, in general, a Gehenna 7 that I'm not very familiar with, which is why I was just shocked to my core to find Asmodeus just tucked into a little corner. My guess, upon seeing this little vault here, is that they can actually show up in either of them, and it's a bit of a 50-50 split, though. Again, never seen it before, so very much could be going down the wrong trail there. But regardless, that should just about do it for our second to last hell. I had to stop myself from saying final again. I swear, my brain is just trying to convince itself, just taking deep huffs of that copium. And there we go. So next up is Dis. So we don't need any of the elemental specific resistances. In fact, if we can get a nice mix of them all here, that's for the best. Half decent armor class actually gets back to being slightly useful here. We will have the corroded effect the entire time, so we do have that to contend with as well. But otherwise, we have lots of scrolls, we have lots of potions. Hopefully that's enough for us to make it through, shall we? New Rune, who this indeed. At least that's the plan. Okay, Hellion, you have got to go there first. Oh, or not. There we go. Fantastic. Second time is the charm. And then otherwise, we should be in a fairly decent spot against all these regular old undead sons of guns. Fantastic. Okay, not too bad of a start. I say just as we get into the mean potatoes, this is where things start to get a bit nasty. We do have this dispersal trap, which I believe this son of a gun is going to walk directly into, which you kind of hate to see. Oh, or one of the skeletons will beat you to it. Fair enough, they are hasted, I guess, so that does make a certain amount of sense. But fortunately, nothing we can't handle, at least for the time being. And we'll keep on keeping on. Ooh, upgradable Spectral Demon Blade and Shield better than a +9 Vampiric Triple Sword. Ooh, that is definitely interesting. Spectral Brand is always an interesting endeavor in general, especially at later stages of the game where enemies can put out a decent chunk of damage pretty suddenly. So I would say it largely depends on how comfortable you are with the Spectral Brand. You know, double damage, pretty incredible stuff. 1.5 damage coming down on you can be rough. Guess the trade-off there is you do get a shield back at least, which I'm very partial to shields, of course. On most of my characters, I lean that direction. But I might have to leave that judgment mostly up to you as to what kind of a character you like to run, because of course the Vampiric Triple Blade also has huge potential for keeping yourself in a fight until the end of it there. So it's all pretty fantastic. Also depends if you're in places where Vamp's even functional. That's a great point, Thalfon. Their trade-offs. There's a big argument that a strong shield is a huge advantage. Yeah, you have access to a kite shield of reflection, thinking for extended. Yeah, reflection, I mean, I'm a sucker for reflection branded shield for sure, so that alone always makes me lean that direction. But of course, the decision is yours as to what you feel most comfortable with. They're all good options. It's a pretty fantastic selection to have to choose from at the end of the day. Yes, your gut is Doom Blade and Shield for extended, yeah? That sounds pretty fantastic to me. But okie dokie, so far things are going fairly smoothly. I do notice that I'm starting to actually run out of piety. Can you imagine that? Facing off against an area that is slightly less filled to the brim with demons here, more of an eclectic mix of all sorts of enemies. Can immediately see our Dazzling Cloak doing pretty fantastic work against all of the caustic shrikes there. You do love to see it. Let's make sure that our piercing or penetrative bolts here are getting full advantage, hitting at least 3 enemies wherever we get the opportunity to do so. In fact, let's maybe take some steps back here. If everyone would line up in a nice orderly queue, I would be very happy to see you one at a time. Fantastic. Of course, the Iron Giants being the main issue for ruining our choke points here if they get the opportunity to do so, but not the end of the world so far. As we continue making our way down? Okay. Well, that's a lot of potential damnation. Hate that. These buddies hurl. These buddies hurl. So if we get bodies between us and them, we at least have some defense against the multitude of shots that can come our way. But unfortunately, I might have to bow out of this one. It does mean that we'll be getting quite a few hell effects on our way back down. But we might just have to contend with that. You have the ability to deal 60 damage, my friend. Oof, oof, oof. You don't have max range on damnation. I think we're going to play this as safe as we possibly can. And we're just going to blink our way up and out of danger, let a bunch of our healing come in, swap back to our holy crossbow, and murder this son of a gun. Holy moly. Not exactly ideal. And we know that we have quite the nasty welcoming party waiting for us on Disc 5. But this time around, we're going to treat it kind of like you would Vaults 5. And we're going to try to prep ourselves as much as we possibly can. Oops. Not Dungeon 4, let's go to Disc 4. Fantastic, mixing up my D branches. And what did we get hit with? A pretty huge amount of drain. Oh my gosh, that is quite bad. Well, folks, do we risk going down with this? Another option we have is that we very specifically left a lot of crypt open-ended here, so that we did have that as a potential place to rest up and recover. So I think I will, in fact, make my way over to crypt temporarily here. Let's try and get rid of this drain. Might not help too much. We might be hit by a bunch as we make our way back into the area, but we'll have to see what the dungeon has in store for us. So for the moment here, let's pop through, swap to Zin for Hells. That's an interesting idea for sure. Try to take advantage of the ability to sometimes ignore hell effects. It's definitely interesting. I think I still prefer the Shining one for being able to bring in some bodies as well as Cleansing Flame if we start to get surrounded. But we'll have to keep that in mind as we work through our drain here. And try it out. Also missed Thelfon, you mentioned that the Spectral Weapon isn't that much of an extra source of damage as it dies quickly, and some of the damage it takes is instead of something hitting you. Yeah, definitely. As for our 3 scrolls of acquirement here, I don't even know where to begin. Guess we could take this hat just for fun. Probably won't end up wearing it, but let's just work our way through. The +3 gloves of Iskaya's approval. Oh, I kind of like the gauntlets of war that we have going on here. Could get the Longblades manual. In fact, how far along are we in that department? We're just at 16? Sure, let's try it out. As much as I do kind of like the idea of getting some cold resistance built into our general kit here, I think for the moment, we'll just go for the manual and regen gloves. Okay. Again, might not wear them right away here, but holy moly. How close are we to a full kit of regen? We already have regen hat, regen amulet. We have picked up a regen cloak. We just picked up regen gloves. Don't have regen boots. Of course, rings, no regen. But holy moly, folks. That's still pretty absurd. In fact, am I carrying most of those on me here? So if I swap into these, and swap into these, I'm regenerating 4.35 health per turn? Holy. Wait, why only ring mail at 35 strength? Mostly just because it was, I mean, it is giving us some of the strength to be fair, but yeah, it was just decent enchantment, resistance to cold when we were severely lacking in resistances. I don't know if we have much better to choose from here. I guess probably that +7 chainmail now that I'm looking at it. There's that fire resistance we've been missing this whole time. That would have potentially been a better option than the salamander armor that we went for to make it through Gehenna. Otherwise, is there much else for us to look at? The plate armor, fun and games, is just AC, which is not a huge deal for us at this stage. So that doesn't excite me too much. We could check out this plate armor. I don't know how heavy we can go, even with this absurd strength that we've just kind of stumbled our way into. I'm not super confident with my knowledge when it comes to ranged combat here, so I don't know quite how much we can push it. I am curious about this though. Let's head up to the chainmail and take a quick peek just to get our bearings, shall we? Triple sword can drop for now. If I swap over to this bad boy... Ooh, we are slowed by our armor, even just in chainmail. So I think just to keep ourselves attacking once per turn for the moment here, we'll stick with our tried and true classic here. And as much as I like this full regen build, I will switch back to the Cloak of Starlight just because it has been very fun to use so far. And with that out of the way, we can continue to make our way through Crypt, hopefully working off the rest of this drain. There's still a painful amount left to remain there, but still have a bit more of Crypt 3 before things get fully up in the air here. So let's just put out some Cleansing Flame with all of our new friends. Why, hello there. Then get back to just spamming the ever-living crap out of that tab key. In fact, let's kill you before you get into damage reflect mode. Maybe get ourselves into the relative safety of the hallway here as well. I will go right into the cloud of vapor. Thank you very much, DCSS.